decline. So we'll just leave that at that.
Yeah, exactly. But another thing you said about quarterbacks that can't stay healthy. Peyton has not been your healthy camper lately, and they just signed Kerry Collins, which is a bad sign that he's going to be starting the season off. So at this point, if you hadn't drafted yet, I would drop Peyton down a few notches just because of what happened today with them getting Kerry Collins in and people not knowing what's happening with that team.
I mean, when he's healthy, he's still gonna put up he's still gonna put up good yards and good touchdowns because it's a passing offense. So I still think he's gotta be, in this list. But, I mean, I don't know, he's not elite. He's not elite in fantasy anymore. We'll just put it that way.
Yeah.
Next on this list, another injury problem, but he's a fantasy freak, just like Phillip Rivers. Tony Romo.
Yep.
I mean, you look at his stats. He might not be winning games, but he's winning fantasy football.
Yeah.
Because he's putting up 300 yards in a Jason Garrett offense. So I still have faith in him. Plus, he's got Witten to throw to, and that's always a good matchup.
Yeah, that one thing about Jason Garrett's offense is productive with yards. He's very productive with yards. So everybody, Tony Romo is going to get, like you said, 300 some yards. He's going to end with over 4,000 yards, maybe pushing 5,000 yards. It's going to happen for Tony Romo. So he's going to be a solid contributor if our young offensive line can keep him healthy. Because he's another one that went down on an injury that can be re-injured easily. And last year it was a rookie, so this year we've got even more rookies.
Rookie fullback.
Yeah, rookie fullback. We got another rookie fullback this year and a rookie running back that is supposed to be pass protecting, and 2 rookies on the line. So, I mean, however good a rookie is, they make mental mistakes that can cause, death to a quarterback. So that's the only thing with Tony. Other than that, he's a definite lock, especially with those receivers he's got.
Moving down the list, we'll just move through these last ones pretty quickly. Matt Schaub, I think is next on the list just because he has Andre Johnson to throw to. My only problem with him is we saw it last year. He struggled when he wasn't throwing the ball 30 times a game. He's got it. He's one of those quarterbacks that he has to get in the rhythm of throwing, and Arian Foster made that almost impossible for him to do. Not to take away from Arian Foster is a great running back, and obviously if he was working for him for most of the season. But if Schaub's not sitting there, throwing 30 passes a game, I'm telling you, he can't be as productive. But he's got Andre Johnson, and I can't take away from that. The best wide receiver. I don't care what Matthew Berry or whatever his name is on ESPN sitting there saying Roddy White is better than Andre Johnson. You're a douchebag. Yeah. But Matt Schaub has the best wide receiver in the league, and that's why he's still on this list. Then Matt Ryan, he's got Roddy White. He's got Julio Jones. He's slow on the list.
He's probably got the most tools in football, I think.
Yeah.
He's got the most people, dangerous people to throw to now, especially with Julio Jones and with Gonzalez, and then with the new Jaquez Rogers coming out the backfield. He has some powerful weapons. So he's one that, if he could probably make a move this year in fantasy to be one of the upper echelon guys.
My only problem with him is they're a run-first offense with Michael Turner, which isn't a horrible thing. It's not a horrible thing to have with Michael Turner back there. But the only reason he's this low is because they're gonna probably try to run the ball more than they are going to try to pass right now. Or at least that's what we've seen in the past. So,
to me, if they do that, it makes sense. I think they're going to try their hardest to be such a balanced football team, and they might. If they're smart, they'll tip their hand to use the pass to open up the run for Turner. You know what I'm saying? Because, I mean, they have weapons that can beat anybody one-on-one almost.
Yeah. Let's see. And the next one, we talked about this. This is the number 10 quarterback, but it could be anybody really, between a couple other guys. But we put Matt Stafford, and because of another great wide receiver, Calvin Johnson. You can't forget about this guy. But the only problem with Matthew Stafford, he is injury prone. He is the definition of injury prone. If he stays on the field, Detroit might actually stand a chance. If he doesn't, well, they're back to square one, picking in the top 10. But he's still got that weapon, and he's got Titus Young now also to throw to. They've still got Javad Best. You know, they've got a good pedigree. They've got a good setup, so he should do well if he stays healthy. One thing I'm going to say about Vic and Stafford: don't draft both of them. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, that's a fair statement.
Don't draft both of them. If you draft one, draft someone else, because they no.
Yeah.
I don't think one of them is going to get hurt. That's plain and simple.
Stafford's made of paper mache.
Yeah. Josh Freeman is another guy. We'll talk about some sleepers, I guess. Josh Freeman should be good. He showed brilliant signs last year. Sam Bradford is another one.
Josh Freeman is a better quarterback than he is a fantasy quarterback.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I would avoid him in the fantasy world because stats don't seem like they phase that guy at all. You know what I'm saying? The only stat that he cares about is not making a mistake, not turning the ball over. He seems like one of those quarterbacks. So he's kind of like a Ben Roethlisberger. When you can tell that quarterback and you don't have the same interest on Sundays. You know what I'm saying? You need somebody that's aggressive, that wants to score.
Yeah.
Like Romo.
Yeah. And then we also talked about Kevin Cobb. I think Larry Fitzgerald. That's another reason. He's also got Todd Heap. I think we'll see what happens there. Cole McCoy, I think, is a deep sleeper. I've heard somebody call him a deep sleeper because he has the potential to be good and put up some stats, but at the same time, he doesn't exactly have the best wide receivers in the league to throw to. And Matt Castle's another one. They have Steve Preston, McCluster, Jamal Charles, and some guy named Dwayne Bowe. So he could be potentially deadly. And that's all. I mean, that's every other quarterback that we didn't talk about. Just don't even.
You forgot McNabb.
I did not forget McNabb.
Oh, okay.
I did not forget McNabb at all. That's
what? Oh, you forgot Bradford? Did you say Bradford?
Yeah, we talked about Bradford.
Okay, cool. Well, we're good. All right, moving on. Where you want to go next? Wide receivers, defense?
Let's go to running backs, man.
Backs.
I think that's the big question.
Ooh.
Before we move on, I want to answer a couple questions because you guys have been asking and I've been neglecting. Run the Table asks, does any team's offensive line stand out to you guys? Because I like my quarterback to have some time. The Jets, I mean, we didn't talk about Mark Sanchez, but the Jets' offensive line is just brutally amazing.
Yeah.
That whole offensive line is just scary. I mean, it's almost as scary as the defense. Also, Flacco's offensive line. They just signed.
Although Orr's not doing it at left tackle, they got to put him back at right.
Yeah, they just signed Bryant McKinney. They just signed Bryant McKinney.
Okay.
He passes physical. He's going to be playing for them. So that's another good offensive line. Of course, these aren't elite quarterbacks. So if we're going to look at elite quarterbacks, Brady's offensive line is pretty good.
Yeah.
Manning's obviously not the Cowboys.
No. Not really. The Green Bay is they made it with their offensive line last year, but their offensive line wasn't really that good. The Saints and the Falcons. Both of those two teams has a pretty solid offensive line as far as blocking.
Yeah. And then Run the Table also asked, how do you feel about Freeman and Colt McCoy? We kind of talked about them. I think they're both I would say third tier quarterbacks.
Colt McCoy, superstar.
I hope so, but I don't think it's gonna be this year.
There's not been a day.
That was Greg Little. That was just Greg Little. They gotta have some more.
There's not been a day of my life I have not loved Colt McCoy.
Yep.
From
I'll put you guys can keep asking questions, and we'll try to answer them as we can. Michael Valdez says, which should I trade? Which running back should he trade, and what should he trade him for? He asked Maurice Jones-Drew and Benson.
You need to get rid of Benson. The Cincinnati Bengals.
Get rid of Benson.
Yeah, the Cincinnati Bengals. You can mark this down. I'm telling you right now, the Cincinnati Bengals will be the worst team in NFL history this year.
Yep.
They will be that bad.
Dalton, but it's not their season.
You won't have he's not gonna have a quarterback to throw the ball. He's not gonna have a receiver, AJ. They're gonna have. It's gonna take some time for those guys, and he's just gonna see 8-man fronts. And Cincinnati's going to be giving the ball up. It's just not going to be good. It's not going to be pretty in Cincinnati. It's not. Sorry.
All right, Michael asks again, which wide receiver should he get rid of?
No, hold on. Nate said Andrew Luck already bought Carson's house. That's funny. It's so many different levels, Nate. Go ahead.
Michael Valdez asked which wide receiver should he get rid of, Roddy White or Julio Jones? Don't get rid of either of them. Wait until Julio Jones, see what he does, and if he lights it up, trade Julio Jones when he's hot. Make sure he's hot and trade him away to a team that needs a wide receiver. That's all I can tell you. Do not trade Roddy White under any circumstances. That's fact. But all right, let's get this show rolling. Running backs. We'll start at the top. I still think Adrian Peterson.
ADP.
Like we said earlier, there's no front runners in these running back class. It's so weak. It's the same running backs from last year, but all their situations changed. Every single one of the elite quarterbacks last year, at the beginning of the season, all of their situations changed dramatically. You had Adrian Peterson and Chris Johnson were the top two last year. Oh, and Maurice Jones-Drew also. I think he was number 3 in most people's drafts. Adrian Peterson lost Brett Favre, replaced by McNabb, and he lost an offensive lineman. I don't see that going well, but he's the best option because he's an absolute freak. He's an absolute freak.
Yeah.
So I had to put him at the top because he is basically their main weapon, and he's also the goal line back. You have to think about that too. He gets the goal line carries.
And that's very few of those.
Can't say that. A lot of starting running backs can't say that.
Very few of them anymore.
Yep.
Which is the reason why I said that about quarterbacks. There's very few running backs like the LaDainian Tomlinson that got the ball and got catches all game long. It's a dying thing.
Yep. Number 2 on my list, I have Arian Foster. I because he's going high. He's going high in these drafts. I still think he's still going to get goal line carries. But so that's that. He's not going to hit guys. He's not going to hit the mark he hit last year as far as yards go. It's not going to happen. He might still get the touchdowns. He's not going to get the yards. I still think he's valuable to have as far as that goes, but don't expect him to be putting up 200-yard games. Number 3, Jamal Charles. I got him. Nate drafted him. I traded for him. It's a whole complicated thing. I think Jamal Charles is going to surprise a lot of people. Kansas City is. They got LaRon McClain lead blocking for him. So he could have a very special year this season, and I have 100% faith that he can do great things.
All right. I put the chat on the screen, so everybody now you can type, and your whatever you type will be on the video now. So feel free to ask questions and all that kind of stuff.
After that, Maurice Jones-Drew. I know he's injured. or they say he's injured. I don't know what's going on there, to be 100% honest.
He's fine.
But, he's always got injury rumors swirling around him, and he always comes out and performs. So I can't take these injury rumors seriously. I just can't do it anymore.
Right.
I still think, David Garrard's not the best quarterback in the world, but he's good enough to keep the pressure off Jones-Drew every single game. So I still think he's worth a top 5 at the running back spot. Number 5, Turner. Burner Turner. Like I said, Atlanta's still trying to be a balanced offense, and so Turner should still see decent numbers. Number 6, a lot of people are going to say, why is he so far down the list? Chris Johnson still hasn't signed, and I can't put faith in that. And I also can't put faith in the fact that his quarterback is Hasselbeck. I love Hasselbeck. He's not a great quarterback anymore, but he's
a little bit better than Kerry Collins.
This is true. But like I said, Chris Johnson could be out of shape compared to last season. He's not getting these training camp reps, preseason reps, nothing. So plus he hasn't signed.
But you can't. My thing is, I saw it on Sports Nation today. Everybody saying that he's not worth the whatever that he's asking for, whatever. But my thing is, with a running back, I can't say anything about them trying to get whatever they can, because those guys do not last long in the NFL. Very few of them have long careers. Good quarterbacks like Peyton Manning, quarterbacks like Brady, they can play for a while until, something happens like Troy and they start getting concussions and stuff like that. But a quarterback can play for a good minute. Look at Favre, look at Steve Young. When you're very good, you can still play this game. But
yeah. It just I can't tell you guys to take Chris Johnson in a top 5 one of the top 3 elite picks in the draft, and if the guy's not ready to play, either because he hasn't signed an extension, or if for all we know, he might be out of shape. He might not be. We just don't know. We don't know. Also, we had a discussion. He's kind of all flash. It's not. There's not. He's fast and strong, but he's not. To me, he's not the running back that I would take if I was building a team. We'll get arguments about that later.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
We've got number 7, Mendenhall. I think he's the most underrated running back in fantasy because, let's face it, the guy is pretty much a beast when he's in the goal line.
Yeah. Mendenhall's. Again, another person that gets injured every once in a while. But Mendenhall is he's coming into his own right now. I'm loving him.
Number 8, Ray Rice. He's got probably the best lead blocker in football, and Vontae Leach. Arian Foster credits Vontae Leach for the mad stats Arian Foster put up last year. So if you put Ray Rice behind Vontae Leach, that could be a deadly combination.
Yeah. But didn't he have a beast? Didn't he have Tony Richardson there last year?
Yeah, but Tony Richardson's kind of fallen off.
Yeah, he may have fallen off. Yeah, you're right.
Number 9, Steven Jackson. I love Steven Jackson.
Year.
Like 2 of my leagues.
Big year for him.
Because people are just letting him fall. I don't know how you can let this guy fall. He's the face of the franchise. He's got a good quarterback to take pressure off of him. So
finally, and he got it at a perfect time because he's not done yet by any means, but he's to the peak of his career. Where it's time to get him some people to play with because he's a special player. Kind of like where D Ware is with our team. You know what I'm saying? He's at a certain point right now where we need to put some players around him so we can win with him because otherwise you're wasting him. And St. Louis was wasting Steven Jackson for years, and I just hate to see that.
I have Gore at number 10 on my list.
Who?
And Frank Gore.
Gore, yeah.
But I feel we're just going to throw him out because I'm sorry that quarterback situation is just probably one of the worst in the league.
Yeah.
So we're just going to scratch him.
Another 8-man front. He's going to get 8-man fronts and all kind of craziness.
Yeah. So we're just going to move on. LeGarrette Blunt, he did me so well. He did me so well last year. I'm so glad I picked that dude up. Won me a couple leagues. I mean, he he didn't even play for half the season, and he was splitting carries, and he still got 1,000 yards rushing. How can you doubt him?
Yeah.
How can you doubt him? He's oh man, a full season.
You can't deny his right hook. That's
with
for
Tampa
sure.
Bay, and he should be solid. He should be a solid running back number 2. I say that because he's only had half a season under his belt. We'll see if he's a long-term type situation.
Yeah.
Number 12, Peyton Hillis. We're going to Madden cover athlete. We're going to go ahead and give him a spot. I don't think he's going to have as dominant a season as he did last year, but he's still a pretty beast. He can run over just about anybody. So number 13, Run DMC. No, not the rap artist, guys. Darren McFadden. I don't like that quarterback situation either. But this guy is, when he's not injured.
But Jason Campbell's better than those other guys. He's better. I mean, Jason Campbell's been in horrible situations since he's been in the NFL, and I can't put him in the Tavares Jacksons and the Alex Smiths of the world and stuff like, because those guys have just failed. You know. And Tavares Jackson, I don't think I've ever seen a pretty pass come out of his arm. I've seen some really pretty passes come out of Jason Campbell.
Let's see. The one thing I gotta mention, because I read the stat line and it's absolutely. I read it about Marshawn Lynch though, because Tom Cable is now in Seattle. He's not with Oakland anymore. Tom Cable's running backs, or his team, I should say, have been top 10 in rushing. Tom Cable's not in Oakland anymore, so I'm thinking Run DMC's numbers could fall. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because of the loss of the offensive line coach.
In preseason, it just seems like they're going to be throwing the ball more like the old Raiders.
Yeah. 14 and 15 is Matt Forte and LaShawn McCoy. Don't get them unless you're in a points per reception league. Let's make that perfectly clear.
You know what? I will say something for Shady. He got really beastly there for a while last season and brought a lot of people to some wins. You know, so he may have a little more value than any of these other split guys, but and not unless they're catching the ball.
Michael asks about Reggie Bush. What should we expect from him? I expect him to get injured. We're gonna put that information out there, but I think he's in a good situation. I think Reggie's kind of a run first offense.
Yeah.
Compared to
What up, Dom?
He should be. He should be. I don't know what to say about Reggie Bush in Miami, but I think it's a better situation for him. I can say that much.
Yeah.
I think that New Orleans really wasn't going to give him a chance. Never intended to give him the chance.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, he is a running back. He's not a wide receiver, which is what they were trying to use. He's not.
Yeah.
He's going to get slaughtered if you sit there and throw the ball to him in the open field.
Right.
Or if he runs on a regular basis, he might end up being something special in Miami.
He's going to be going against the Jets defense and the Patriots defense. He's going to get broken. I think he's going to get broken. That brings us to what Run asked earlier about Mark Ingram. Now, I drafted Mark Ingram out of pure necessity. However, in the preseason, he has looked like he might get some carries down during the season. I don't know how much he's going to be sharing with Pierre Thomas, and I don't know how much they want to get him in there. But Mark Ingram's looked pretty strong. What do you think, Clutch?
I'm with you, but it's a Sean Payton offense. There's not going to be it's going to be a backfield committee.
Yeah, but he's never had
one solid
starter. The thing about Sean Payton will run the ball. Sean Payton really hadn't had anybody that can run the ball. He's gotten massive numbers out of Pierre Thomas, who's really just an average running back in the league. You know, but in that offense, and you can't even think and remember a running back with actual skills that played for New Orleans. After Ricky left. You know what I'm saying? So, but seriously, there's been no running back of substance on that team. So I think that with him and mainly more than that, Drew Brees at the line of scrimmage, because Drew Brees can do stuff at the line of scrimmage where he can recognize coverages and hand that thing off to a really good running back in Ingram and pop some nice runs. You know what I'm saying? So that whole machine there in New Orleans, I think Ingram might work out really well there.
Yeah. I mean that's really it for running backs. Let's see.
You didn't say anything about Felix, did you?
We didn't, because I made this list before that Chargers game. I wasn't even worried about Felix.
Jeez, can you believe? And he's wearing a big star on his hat, guys, and he didn't say nothing about Felix. Nate said, shaking his head.
No, I'm trying to keep people from stealing him from me in the drafts.
Run the table is asking about Sean Green. He's a guy I want to keep an eye on because I think Sean Green is really good. You know what I'm saying? His problem last year was LaDainian Tomlinson was something to prove. I don't think LaDainian has anything to prove this year, so he might not run as well as he did last year. And
he's only third. They said he's only going to be the third down.
Yeah. I think it's going to be Sean Green's
goal line carries
time. And I think Sean Green, he's a grinder, and he's going to just punch until he breaks one. He seems to me like a smaller version of Mendenhall.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to wide receivers.
Yeah, I'll get there with you, Valdez, on that one. Go ahead.
I'm looking at it too, Michael. Number one, Andre.
The natural.
Even a contest. The guy is an absolute monster, and if you don't think so, you can ask Cortland Finnegan. There's no way this guy doesn't put up that 1,000 yards, almost close to 1,000 yards. I'll say that because I don't know about Schaub, but he should put up a monster in yards, a monster number in touchdowns. He is the best wide receiver in the league. There's no question.
Yeah. Next question.
Calvin Johnson is the next guy on my list. Stafford's healthy. This guy can put up just as good as numbers as his Johnson cousin. Roddy White's next on this list. I don't really think I need to explain. We really don't need to explain the wide receivers, guys, because we've touched on them with the quarterbacks, but I mean, we're going to just run through them. Number 4 on my list is Dwayne Bowe. Matt Castle makes him look like a superstar. I mean, Dwayne Bowe makes Matt Castle look like a superstar, the way he plays. 5, Larry Fitzgerald. Now he has a quarterback that can actually throw the ball instead of a plug-and-play rookie situation.
I put Fitzgerald over Bowe. I like Bowe a lot, but I put Fitzgerald a little bit over Bowe because Fitzgerald is he's just beastly.
Yeah. I mean, some of these could be interchangeable to be honest. Number 6, I think Vincent Jackson, the 6'5" wide receiver, it doesn't get any better than that.
He might have a better season. He might have a better season than all of them, actually. Vincent Jackson.
Greg Jennings, he's on Green Bay, so you know what that is.
Green Bay's number 1. Point.
Number 8, Odo Cinco. He's got a quarterback, and Carson Palmer is a good quarterback. I love the guy, but
get Ocho.
Palmer's no Brady, so
get Ocho. That's all I gotta say.
I've got him in like 2 or 3 leagues, Shango, and you're trying to get him from me.
Yeah, I know. I want Ocho. We'll talk after this.
Number 9, you and I had a discussion about. It's either Miles or it's Dez. One of the two. One of those guys is going to. I think they're going to put up the same numbers. I think Miles is going to have the yards. Dez is going to have the touchdowns. So that I think fantasy wise they're going to be about even. But I think Miles is going to have the yards.
Yeah.
And then number 10, Hakeem Nicks. He's the wide receiver 1. Yes, Eli's throwing the ball to him, so it's not guaranteed. But I still think he's one of the best wide receivers. One of the best wide receivers in the league. He's definitely an up and comer. Let's see, and we'll get back to Michael's questions. Michael Valdez asked, he has Santonio Holmes and Plaxico Burress. Should he keep both?
Yeah, let me answer this because it's one of my pet peeves. And guys who are in here are going to get some really valuable information on fantasy. Do not pick two wide receivers on the same team because you're canceling each other out. If one scores a touchdown, it means the other one didn't score a touchdown. And for them two to have both a big game on the same Sunday, you have to have your team to score like 40-something points. You know what I'm saying? So it's not a good idea to have the same on each team. So I always want to get rid of one of them if it happens, trade one of them or something like that. Now what I will do, I will do a quarterback and a wide receiver on the same team, because when they connect, it's like your birthday. You get extra points. You know, I do that with tight ends too. You know, if they score, you know, bam, it makes it all better. But just you try not to do that. And Valdez says he has Roddy White and Julio Jones and Tony Gonzalez. Oh man, I wasn't gonna add the tight end because sometimes you can get away with the tight end, but three of them, Mike, and Santonio and Plax. You know what, Plax? Gee, that's a good fantasy question because I forgot what Plaxico Burress was other than an idiot that shot his leg off in the club. Yeah. I had forgot what kind of person Plaxico Burress was on the football field. And all I had to see was those three catches that he made. And I was like, whoa, that was Plax. If you remember, Cowboy fans, we had to get a player for Plaxico. We had to go get Anthony Henry so he could cover, because he's the only guy tall enough to even compete with that tall, huge human being. So that's gonna be a serious problem in the red zone. I don't understand why you wouldn't just like hike, throw the ball up to him every time. That is just, I mean, yeah, Mike Williams is big in Seattle, but nobody's as big as Plax. I mean, he's 6'6" and long. So I mean, if a ball's thrown at his top point, there's nothing you can do. Kind of like Calvin Johnson. If the ball's thrown at his top point, there's nothing anybody can do. It's touchdown.
Yep.
So that's a tough one, man. You have to flip a coin on that one. Whether you want yards or touchdowns with Santonio and Plax, but I'd take Santonio until Plax shows me something, because I don't know what Plax will do. I don't know if his body will stand up. I know Santonio's body will stand up. You just have to worry about Santonio getting in trouble or whatever. The other one, Julio and Roddy, whichever one you can get a good deal for.
I wouldn't trade Roddy. I'd trade Julio, but I'd wait until you see something from him. Let him prove himself, and then be like, look for the team, the weakest wide receiver unit in your league, and be like, hey, here's Julio Jones. Give me your running back. Give me your quarterback.
Yeah.
You know,
build up some hype.
He's got no value right now. No significant value. But if he starts,
I might try to get Julio Jones in our league. Who has him? Nate, do you have Julio?
No, we're doing a show. Come on now.
Nate.
We're doing a show.
No, yeah, Nate. Hey, Nate. Hook me up, man.
All right, let's go to move room. Tight ends real fast. Antonio Gates, you don't really need any explanation. Jason Witten, no explanation. Dallas Clark, no explanation. Jermichael Finley, no explanation. Brennan Davis, I'm not even sure I should have on this list. Alex Smith is,
yeah.
Jimmy Graham, New Orleans Saints. Breeze gonna find him. Owen Daniels, I still have faith in this guy. Mercedes Lewis had 10 touchdowns last year. I don't see him making 10 touchdowns. That can go in the bloopers. 10 touchdowns this season, but he's still a good tight end. Tony Gonzalez, I think he's going to be the sleeper tight end of the draft, because he's got Roddy White and Julio Jones taking
he's going to be wide open.
Pressure off. Yeah, he should be wide open.
Yeah.
And number 10, I just say Hernandez and Gronkowski from New England, because Hernandez is going to get the touchdowns. Gronkowski is going to get the yards.
Yeah.
That's what happened last year, and I don't see why it would change too much.
Valdez brought up one of my sleepers in tight end. He said who's going to have a better year, Tony Gonzalez or Greg Olsen. I think Gonzalez is going to have a better year, but Greg Olsen is fast.
Yeah.
I really like that tight end, and Carolina stole him from Chicago. So I don't know. I think Gonzalez is going to have a bigger year, but if Greg Olsen is sitting on your waiver wire after the draft, or if he's there really late and you need a backup tight end, I would go ahead and take a flyer on that guy because he's got a rookie quarterback, and a rookie quarterback lives on their tight ends. You know, that's why in Cleveland, the tight end in Cleveland is going to be a good thing because Colt McCoy will throw it to that tight end.
Yeah, that's completely true. And then I think the only thing we have left is defensive kickers. Let's go ahead and get the kickers out of the way. We don't need to run through them, guys.
Why?
Because you're not going to win games because of your kicker.
Yeah, that's what I say. Why go through them?
Unless Dan Carpenter's kicking 5 or 6 field goals a game.
Don't get a Cowboys kicker. That's your kicker info.
I usually go for guys on teams that. I usually take kickers on teams where the offense is good, but they're not great. They're not going to get in the end zone every time they go down the field. They're going to get stalled. They're going to stall out and have to kick a field goal. Shango's theory is just get whatever the best offense is. So like your Peyton Mannings, your Colts, Eagles, Patriots, that type of thing where they're scoring a lot. But I'm more of a guy I want teams that can get down the field, but they stall out at the 30 and they have to kick that 40-yard field goal. Move on to defense. In my leagues, defense means something because you start out with 15 points. If your defense holds their opponent to 0 or to 7 points, you get 15 points automatically. Plus the sacks, the interceptions, whatever. So defense means a lot in the league I run. So we're going to go through them. Number 1, I still think is Green Bay. I still think that defense is nasty. And they have everyone back. They lost a couple guys, but they weren't key guys. Number 2 is obviously the Jets. I don't really need to explain that one too much. Pittsburgh, don't need to explain. Philadelphia, their front 7 is not elite. That's the reason they're not higher up in this league. You cannot win with just 3 corners. It's not going to happen because if you can't put pressure on the quarterback, those corners are going to get beat every time.
Yep.
Baltimore, oh man, they're a good defense.
Ray Lewis and Ed Reed are still there.
Yeah, they're still there. As long as they're on that team, that doesn't matter who else you plug in around them.
Yeah.
San Diego was the best statistical defense last season. They were also the best offense statistically last season, and they couldn't do anything. But they're still fantasy gold. San Diego is still fantasy gold. So go with that.
Great linebackers.
Number 7, New England. I drafted New England in 2 leagues, and I'm going to tell you why. Because they play the Bills twice, they play the Miami Dolphins twice, and they play the Jets twice. And what does that mean? None of those 3 teams are offensive powerhouses. None of them. So New England stands a great chance, especially with Albert Haynesworth added to that defense, stands a great chance of holding those 3 teams to low scores and getting some turnovers, getting some sacks. They were great last year. They didn't change divisions, guys, so they're still going to be good this year. Number 8, San Francisco. Their division is what's helping them with that. And their division alone. Number 9, the Giants. I made this list before that game where they lost like half their team. So I'd probably look elsewhere. But the Giants, they still have that front 4, and that front 4 is just they're gonna get sacks against us, guys. Let's not beat around the bush. They're gonna destroy us.
Not too many good defenses in the NFC though, huh?
Yeah. And then I have Atlanta and Tampa Bay. I still think those 2 are good.
Yeah, Atlanta's a good fantasy defense.
Yeah. I think Houston is going to be the biggest sleeper as far as defenses go. Wade Phillips, I know you guys are going to hate to hear it, but I think he's going to do good things with that defense because they have way more pieces.
You're a traitor, Clutch.
had.
You're a traitor.
I'm not a traitor. I speak the truth.
You're a traitor, dude.
That Houston defense had way more pieces than Wade ever had in Dallas.
Yeah.
And that's just the sad truth. They now have Jonathan Joseph. They have Daniel Manning, who isn't an elite safety, but he's a safety. Way better than what we have.
You're on the Dallas Cowboys show and you got a Cowboys hat on, dude. What are you saying? Chill out.
They got Marvin Williams, Miko Ryans, Brian Cushing, J.J. Watt. I mean, they're going to surprise a lot of people. You're not going to see the same team that was leading, giving up the most fantasy points to quarterbacks and wide receivers and running backs last season.
Did he mention Philly, Run? Did you mention Philly?
Of course I mentioned Philly.
Okay.
No.
I was like, I thought I heard Philly, but I blocked them out. Because you know what about Philly's defense? They're a really, 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 really good Madden defense. You know what I'm saying? You get those corners about there that can cover and make picks and stuff with great hands and things like that. You got those corners and you got defensive line that can rush the passer and get after him, to force him to throw the ball fast so he can get a pick. So on Madden, if somebody set their defense up like Philadelphia or the people that's going to play with Philadelphia, you can get a whole lot of interceptions from that team. But in real life, I think they're soft. I think that if people punch them and punch them and punch them and punch them, they'll be able to neutralize that defense and turn them into nothing.
Michael says I mentioned Houston defense, but I didn't mention Felix. Michael, I'm trying to keep people from drafting Felix so he can be dropped to me.
Okay, the honest thing about Felix looks like he could be a top 3-4 fantasy guy right now. The way he looks
right now.
But Felix has done this to us before. I had to go back and look at old videos to see my grins and my wow, Felix is just crazy good, and something happens, he gets hurt or something. So Felix has to keep it going this year. He has to keep the thing going, run and make a whole bunch of. Have one hugely successful season, and then Felix will be a fantasy lock for years.
Yeah. But that basically wraps it up, guys. Let's before we wrap this up, you guys can throw out some questions and we'll hit them.
Yeah. Any last second questions? Type away. Who called Felix Fool's Gold? Run called Felix Fool's Gold. Fool's Gold. He's not Fool's Gold. He's the real deal. He just has to do it. I have so much belief in Felix. It's kind of like him and Dez are in the same predicament where I put their athletic ability on some superstar scale, that they can be those superstars if they don't get hurt or something. If something else doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Those two guys, and I think those are the only two guys, other than of course Steve Ware because he is a superstar. But only those two guys on that team that I hold up to that standard, they could be world beaters.
Absolutely.
He's got more. You know what? Run Table. When I saw him as a rookie, when I went to training camp, when I saw Felix as a rookie, that dude, his balance and the speed, he could turn. He's not really that fast. That's one thing people don't know about Felix. They think he's just super fast. He's not really that fast. He's a fast running back, but he's not Darren McFadden type fast. He's not Reggie Bush type fast and Chris Johnson type fast. He's not fast like those guys. But the thing about him, he can hit a corner at full speed and turn that corner at the same time because he's very light at the bottom, so he can just go wide open. That's why you'll see a lot of times when Felix is out there in space, he makes people just look stupid with that speed. But it's gonna determine what he can do between the tackles. What can he do between the tackles? Can he get those tough runs, those tough downs, and things like that? Because if he don't get those 3rd and 2s, then it's gonna be trouble.
All right, 487 asks, do I need to trade any of my backs? He's got Sean Green, Felix Jones, Adrian Peterson, D'Angelo Williams, because he only has 3 wideouts, Mike Williams, Dez, and Fitzgerald. The simple answer, DC, yes, you do. You do. I would
Yeah, that's
say
gonna frustrate you. Starting somebody every week is
I
frustrating.
would trade in this order. First, I'd offer up Adrian Peterson.
Me too. Most value.
See if someone's willing to overpay for him, and it has to include one, an elite wide receiver, and two, a running back.
Who's your quarterback, 47?
Huh?
Who's your quarterback, 47?
Breeze.
Oh, never mind now. You good.
Okay, he doesn't need a quarterback then. Freeman, no, you're good at quarterback. You need a wide receiver. Fitzgerald's great. Dez is great. Mike Williams, I mean, he's good, but you could do better because you've got the depth at running back to trade. Like I said, try to get Adrian Peterson on the trading block. See someone overpay for him. What you need to get in return is an elite wide receiver.
Calvin Johnson Jr., Andre Johnson,
Roddy White,
Greg Jennings. That's it. That's it.
Vincent Jackson.
But make sure they send somebody else of value with Vincent Jackson.
You need a elite wide receiver and then a starting running back in the NFL. That's what I would ask for. That's what I would personally ask for. And I think that you could get that.
Who's your tight? Do you have a good tight end?
Another running back. Another guy I try to trade just because he's.
Damn. I'm not playing your ass.
A lot of value.
He's got Whitten as a tight end.
You should win. Like 47. I don't know who these guys you're drafting with are, but I wish they were in my league. I wish they were that. Exactly, Nate. Is that a 2-man league? Your team is crazy good, but you definitely can. Oh, you made trades. Well, you made some good ones, my brother, man. You gotta, but you can still make another trade. I promise you can get rid of one of those running backs, and you'll still be fine at the running back position. And have a wide receiver.
Nate said, "Was that a 2-man league?"
Yeah.
That's funny. That's funny.
But I mean, you got the team now. You shouldn't have a problem winning 4-7. You message me every week and you ask me. I mean, you're one of the main ones that messaged me and or commented on our videos last season, asking me for advice, and I helped you win your league, didn't I? So just keep doing it this season, and we'll do it together, brother. We'll do it together.
All right. Any other questions or anything?
Let's see. Bushmaster says all my backs are week 8 buys. When should I make a move if at all?
Dude, can I? Let me have. This is the first season I did. This is the first season I actually paid attention to that during my draft, and my draft didn't go that well. You know what I'm saying? I paid too much attention to that, but having how many you said you have all your backs are eight buys. It's just you might just have to take it on the chin.
Turner,
Yeah.
McFadden, and Grant. I would. Oh man.
You just might have to take it on the chin.
Damn. Yeah. You might have to. Week 8 though. Week 8 is like crucial. Like it's near the end.
Yeah.
Damn.
That's a tough one.
I would.
If you could spare the roster spots.
I would try to trade Grant and a wide receiver that you don't see yourself using. Trade it for another running back of similar talent, or just take the hit. It's not the worst thing in the world to take a hit.
Can you start Bush? Can you start 3 running backs every week? Do you have a?
Yeah, that's right. How many running backs you got? Can you start? You start 3.
3. All right. Cool. Yeah.
Flex.
That's gonna be and the other.
The flex, right? The third one's a flex. Okay. The best I can tell you to do. Trade Grant and a wide receiver for another running back that's of good value. Start that running back. you might just have to dip into free agency to find another running back to put in that second spot, and then the flex you'll have to put a wide receiver.
Yeah, that's what I would do. I would just fill those positions up with other people on my bench. You know, if hopefully you'll make it past that week. But if you start Turner, McFadden, and Grant, all those other ones, whoo, you're going to be pretty strong at running back.
Yeah. Michael, you asked about the third receiver spot in Dallas. I don't know. I'm not even. I'll tell you guys straight up.
Ogletree. That's Ogletree's job.
I care about preseason football just as much as I care about the WNBA playoffs. That's how much I care about the preseason. I don't even pay attention.
47 said it's going to be Randy Moss. Yeah, we wish.
Yeah, I wish.
Well, I do if it all could just work out. But something tells me Randy Moss plus Dez Bryant plus Tony Romo does not equal something good.
It does not.
I just can't see that. But hopefully it's going to be Kevin Ogletree though. Number 3 is going to be Kevin Ogletree. I wouldn't touch him fantasy wise until Kevin Ogletree shows you something. It's kind of like Miles a few years ago. Miles had so many questions by so many people coming out of training camp because, you know, he showed flashes of greatness, but then he would drop passes a lot in streaks, but then he'd show greatness. So a lot of people, you know, in the Dallas media, a lot of folks was like iffy on Miles, but then when he actually got out there and got Tony Romo throwing him the ball, he went crazy. So if that happens, if you notice that happen, the first little buzz you see about Kevin Ogletree, go ahead and knock it out. Go ahead and pull him. No, I don't think Marty B will have a good year. No. I love Marty B, but I don't think. I mean, for fantasy wise, I don't think he's a threat at all.
I don't think he's a threat. Period anymore. I think his days should have been numbered last year when Cincinnati was begging for us to trade him.
Yeah. That's a good question, Nasty Nizzle. I think that's the number one sleeper this year in fantasy football. I just gave him up, but I think Tim Hightower is going to do absolutely fantastic in Mike Shanahan's offense. I really, really, really do. I think Hightower still's got a couple of years left on him. His wheels are running strong right now. Shanahan's offense is crazy good as far as run. But and he has nobody to really take any carries away from him, so I think he's going to do very good in that offense.
Let's get this straight. It's a Mike Shanahan offense. The dude changes running backs more often than most of us change our underwear. It's ridiculous. I refuse to ever draft a running back that plays for Mike Shanahan. Because I've been screwed too many times.
So you wouldn't have drafted Terrell Davis and all those great running backs in Denver that went one after next.
Terrell Davis.
Yeah.
Terrell Davis.
No, there was some more. I mean, his zone run blocking scheme
made everybody a superstar.
Yeah, it made everybody a superstar. So he's got. The problem with the Redskins last year is everybody got broken. You know, Portis went out there first, got broken. Then what's his name? Terrain went out there and lit it up. But one thing about all these guys, when they went out there, Terrain lit it up before he got broken. Everybody at least lit it up before they were broken. Therefore, that's why if Hightower doesn't break himself and keep that starting position, there's a chance that he might have some success. But yeah, it was a running back carousel last year.
Yeah.
Run table. Let's see. Wow, look at this two perspectives. Valdez says, I'm happy the Cowboys are flying under the radar for once. And then Run the Table said, I'm just sad to have my Cowboys lumped in with so many more of the average teams. Was apples and oranges. Whatever looks like an apple to one person looks like an orange to another. Or whatever you're saying is. But yeah, that's cool. I like it when they talk about us as an elite team. I'm sorry. I dig that. It makes me puff out my chest. You know, I don't like having to come from behind all the time. I like to be the man out front that's beating people back.
You know what I'm saying? So I want us to get back to where that star is relevant, because I'm telling you, during the season last year, when the Cowboys became non-relevant, it was just sad to me. Everything. Week by week, I would watch football and enjoy it, but it just had a sadness because I didn't have a dog in the fight no more. Ooh, don't need to be saying that no more. I didn't. I couldn't. I wasn't there with my team. So it's a tough way both ways.
Yeah.
All right, I think that might be it. No more questions, and we'll shut it down for the night. But I think I'm gonna do more of these live shows. I'll get the presentation stuff done when I get back to my office. I'm still out. Um, so when that happens, I'll get some software to where I can put the chat on the screen and then have Clutch on the screen and hopefully have me on the screen and have a more clean delivery. But today we just had to do it like this just to get this information out.
Yeah. You're almost done with it, Chango.
Yeah, almost.
About 6 more days.
I'll be back home Monday.
Yeah.
I'll be back home Monday. Yeah. All right. Am I gonna do a show on the Cowboys soon? Yeah. I'm gonna wait to the end of the preseason to do a overall what's going on right now and get people's predictions for the season, like that last week of the preseason, when the preseason game don't really matter. We'll get it done then. It's gonna be after Madden. Never mind. All right. We're out of here, and I'll see you guys soon. And like I said, we will do this live show more. So you look at my Facebook, and I'll send the notice when it happens. All right, guys. Log out.
Thanks for showing up, guys. We appreciate it.
Thanks for showing up. Definitely.
All right. Thank you.
Still trying to get out though. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. Thank you.